Kaitanir woke to the feeling that his skull had been hollowed out and filled with explosives. The pounding behind his eyes was relentless. "Damn you, Xander," he groaned. The sterile white ceiling of his quarters on Eclipse Station slowly came into focus. Memories followed seconds later. Cheap alien liquor, loud celebration, and the smug grin of a four-armed information broker who owed him his life. Kai had saved Xander during a firefight with Varian pirates. Apparently, the celebration had nearly killed him. Kai rolled onto his side, then froze. Someone stood in the corner of the room. Every instinct from 10 years in the Earth Alliance Marine Corps snapped awake. He bolted upright, pain tearing through his skull, but adrenaline overpowered the hangover. "Who the hell are you?" The figure stepped forward. She was humanoid, but not human. Crimson skin marked with pale flowing patterns, long silver hair, amber eyes with vertical pupils, and glowing energy cuffs around her wrists. She lowered her head. "Master Xander sent me," she whispered. "I am your reward." Kai blinked. "My what?" "For saving his life," she repeated quietly. For a moment the words didn't make sense. Then anger surged through him. "You mean he gave you to me?" She nodded. Kai stood slowly, towering over her, muscles tight with disbelief. "What's your name?" The question clearly surprised her. "I am called Leora." "Leora," Kai repeated. Then he looked at the cuffs. "You're not a thing someone gives away," he said firmly. Confusion flickered across her face. "But I belong to you now." "No," Kai said sharply. "You don't." He stepped closer and reached for the cuffs. She flinched. "Wait, please," she said quickly. "If you reject the gift, Master Xander will terminate me." Kai froze.
"Terminate you?"
"I am defective merchandise," she said calmly. The words hit harder than the hangover. Kai rubbed his face slowly. Eclipse Station was outside Alliance law. Slavery was common here, but that didn't mean he had to accept it. He looked back at her. "For now," he said quietly, "you stay here." Relief flashed across her face. "But listen carefully," Kai continued. "You're not my slave. You're a guest." Leora tilted her head, clearly confused. "What does a guest do?" Kai sighed. "Right now? Nothing." He grabbed his jacket. "I'm going to talk to the idiot who thought this was a good idea." As he stepped out the door, he muttered one sentence that would change both their lives. "I swear, Leora, I'll fix this." Behind him, the alien woman touched her cuff slowly. And for the first time in years, hope flickered in her eyes. Kai didn't know it yet. But freeing Leora would put a price on both their heads before the day was over. Finding Xander was easy. The four-armed Saurian loved attention, and the Nebula Lounge was full of it. Kai spotted him immediately, sitting at a table surrounded by traders, while his scales shifted through colorful patterns of pride. And then Kai here blasted the pirate ship's engines. "Xander," Kai interrupted coldly. The alien's head snapped around. "Ah, my heroic human friend." "Private," Kai said. The room went quiet. Xander reluctantly excused himself and followed Kai into a shadowed corner. "What troubles you?" the Saurian asked smoothly. Kai leaned forward. "You gave me a person." "Yes," Xander said. "A fine gift." "You can't give people." Xander's scales turned thoughtful blue. "Your Earth Alliance has many charming beliefs." Kai's patience snapped. "I want you to take her back and free her." Xander's scales darkened immediately. "Impossible. The transaction is complete." "She's not merchandise," Kai growled. "She is Narian," Xander corrected calmly. "They have no world anymore. No clan, no protection." He leaned closer. "I saved her from termination." Kai frowned. "What?" Her previous owner deemed her troublesome. "So you gave her to me instead?" "Yes." Kai's jaw tightened. "I'm not owning anyone." Xander sighed dramatically. "You misunderstand the situation." He tapped the table. "You saved my life." Kai nodded. "So? In my culture," Xander said softly, "that creates a life debt." Kai felt a bad feeling forming. "The Narian female pays that debt." "If you reject her," Xander continued, "my honor is stained, and I cannot allow that." There it was. A threat hidden in polite words. Kai exhaled slowly. "So if I free her?" "Then she becomes clanless," Xander replied. "No protection. No rights." His voice dropped lower. "And many buyers would pay well for a Narian female." Kai felt anger burn through him. "You're a slaver." I am a businessman, Xander corrected. He leaned closer. And if you abandon her, I cannot guarantee her survival. Silence stretched between them. Kai finally straightened. Fine. Xander's scales brightened slightly. But listen carefully, Kai continued. I will never treat her like property. Xander shrugged. Ownership allows flexibility. Kai turned to leave. But Xander's final words followed him out. Enjoy your gift, Kai Renair. Some treasures are more valuable than they appear. When Kai returned to his quarters, he would discover that Leora wasn't just a slave. She was something far more dangerous. Leora hadn't moved. She was still sitting exactly where Kai left her. Hands folded, eyes lowered, waiting. Kai leaned against the door. You don't have to sit like that. She looked up. Did Master Xander take me back? No. Relief washed across her face. But things are complicated, Kai added. He sat across from her. First rule, he said, you're not my slave. Confusion returned. If I am not owned, what am I? A person. She studied him carefully. And what does a person do? Whatever they want. Leora frowned. I do not remember how. The honesty in her voice caught Kai off guard. He leaned forward. Then we'll figure it out. He reached for the energy cuffs. She stiffened, but didn't pull away. Click. The cuffs powered down and dropped away. Leora stared at her wrists. Free. Kai watched her carefully. Better? Yes, she whispered. They left the quarters together. At first, Leora walked 2 steps behind him. Kai slowed. We walked together. She hesitated, then moved beside him. A small victory. But the moment they entered the station corridors, Kai noticed something else. People were staring. Some curious, some hostile, some predatory. Leora noticed too. Why do they look at me like that? Because Eclipse Station is full of scavengers, Kai said quietly. And you look valuable. She lowered her voice. I was engineered to be valuable. Kai frowned. What do you mean? She hesitated, then said something that made his blood run cold. I am Vesha Caste, servant, protector, and weapon. Kai stopped walking. Weapon? Leora nodded. Our blood carries biological compounds. Compounds used in war. Kai stared at her. Suddenly everything made sense. Xander hadn't given him a slave. He had given him something far worse. A living bioweapon, and if the wrong people discovered it, Leora would never be free again. Kai took her hand. Change of plans, he said quietly. We're leaving Eclipse Station. Her amber eyes widened. Where? Earth. And if they try to stop us? Kai smiled grimly. Then they'll learn something about humans. Leora tilted her head. What is that? Kai's voice dropped. We don't give up people we protect. Behind them, in the crowded corridor, a massive draconian mercenary quietly began following them. And the hunt had officially begun. Kai thought escaping Eclipse Station would be difficult. He had no idea Xander had already sold Leora to someone far worse. Kai didn't slow down. The moment he noticed the draconian mercenary following them, his instincts kicked in. Years in the Earth Alliance. Marines had trained him to read predators, and the creature behind them was exactly that. 8 feet tall, scaled armor plates built into its skin, yellow eyes that never blinked. Don't turn around, Kai murmured. Leora walked beside him, perfectly calm. I already saw him. Of course you did. They moved deeper into the lower commerce ring of Eclipse Station. Crowded corridors. Neon lights. Too many witnesses for a fight. But the mercenary kept coming. Kai stopped suddenly at a vendor stall. Plan? Leora whispered. Yeah, Kai said quietly. Run. They moved at the same time. Kai grabbed her wrist and pulled her through a side corridor. The station alarms hadn't triggered yet, but the mercenaries' heavy footsteps echoed behind them. Fast. Too fast. He is gaining, Leora said calmly. Kai glanced back. The draconian smashed through a line of civilians like paper. Great, Kai muttered. Super fast lizard. They reached a maintenance ladder. Kai shoved it open. Climb. Leora hesitated. Humans climb vertical shafts often? Today we do. She moved first, agile and silent. Kai followed seconds later. Below them, a voice rumbled through the corridor. Property detected. The draconian looked up and smiled. Target confirmed. Kai cursed. He's not guessing anymore. Leora climbed faster. They reached the upper service tunnel and pulled themselves inside, just as the ladder ripped out of the wall below them. The mercenary climbed after them. Bare claws. Metal screamed under the pressure. Kai backed away slowly. "Leora," he said quietly. "Yes?" "You mentioned you were engineered." "Yes." "For war." "Yes." Kai swallowed. "Any chance you can fight that thing?" Leora tilted her head slightly. "I was designed to fight things worse." Kai blinked. "Well, that would have been good to mention earlier." She looked confused. "You did not ask." Behind them, the Draconian burst through the hatch. Massive, hungry, and holding a plasma disruptor cannon. "Alive if possible," the mercenary growled. "Dead if necessary." Kai stepped forward. "Let me guess," he said. "Someone bought her." The Draconian nodded slowly. "Collector Vornek." Kai's stomach tightened. That name meant trouble. The kind of trouble that didn't stop hunting. Leora stepped beside him, amber eyes glowing faintly. "Permission to defend us?" she asked quietly. Kai smirked. "Permission granted." The Draconian fired. The tunnel exploded in light, and Leora moved faster than anything Kai had ever seen. Kai thought Leora was just dangerous, but the moment she moved, he realized she was something far more terrifying. The plasma blast never reached them. Leora caught it. Not with her hands, but with the air itself. Her veins ignited with soft crimson light. Strange patterns flowed across her skin like living circuitry. The energy bolt bent, curved, and slammed harmlessly into the tunnel wall. Kai stared. "Okay," he said slowly. "That's new." The Draconian stared too. Then its eyes widened. "Vesha combat class." Leora stepped forward calmly. "You should leave," she said politely. The mercenary roared and fired again. This time 3 shots. Leora moved, faster than Kai could follow. She slid under the first blast, twisted past the second, and grabbed the Draconian's cannon. Crack! The weapon collapsed in her grip like cheap metal. The mercenary swung a massive claw. Leora caught the strike mid-air. For a moment, the giant alien couldn't move. Then she pushed. Hard, the Draconian flew backward through the tunnel wall. Steel panels exploded outward. Kai stared through the smoke. "Remind me never to arm wrestle you." Leora tilted her head. "Is that a human ritual?" "Sometimes." Before she could respond, the mercenary stood again, unharmed, and laughing. "You are valuable," it growled. Kai's gut twisted. "Yeah," he muttered. "That's the problem." The Draconian activated a wrist communicator. Target confirmed. "Deploying hunters." Kai froze. "Hunters?" Leora turned toward him. "There will be many now." Kai grabbed her hand again. "Then we leave now." "How?" Kai grinned. "I know a pilot." Behind them, station security alarms suddenly exploded to life. Doors slammed shut. Emergency lights flashed red. Kai's grin vanished. "That's not good." Leora looked down the tunnel. Someone locked the station. Kai's mind raced. Only one person could pull that kind of influence. "Xander, son of a..." A voice echoed through the station speakers. Smooth, cold, and amused. "Attention Eclipse Station residents. This is Collector Vornek." Kai's blood ran cold. "We are conducting a private acquisition." The voice continued. "Return the Narian female, and no one else will suffer." Kai looked at Leora. "Looks like you're popular." Leora's voice was quiet. "Many people want what I am." Kai squeezed her hand. "Well, they're gonna have to go through me." Leora studied him carefully. "Why?" Kai smirked. "Because humans are stubborn." Explosions echoed deeper in the station. And the hunters had arrived. Kai wanted to escape Eclipse Station, but Vornek had just turned the entire station into a battlefield. The station map flickered on Kai's wrist display. Every exit locked. Every hangar sealed. Kai exhaled slowly. "Okay." This just became a war. Leora stood beside him calmly, crimson veins slowly fading. "How many enemies?" Kai checked the motion scanner, then cursed. "Too many. Dozens of signals. Closing fast." Leora looked thoughtful. "Then we should not run." Kai blinked. "You want to fight the entire station?" She nodded. "That is efficient." Kai laughed despite the situation. "You know what? I like your attitude." The first hunters arrived seconds later. 6 armored mercenaries, pulse rifles raised. Target located! They fired immediately. Kai dove behind a support pillar, pulling Leora with him. Blaster fire shredded the metal walls. Kai drew his pistol. Ready? Leora nodded. Ready? They moved together. Kai fired first. 2 mercenaries dropped before they understood what happened. Leora hit the others. Fast, silent, deadly, within seconds. The corridor was quiet. Kai exhaled slowly. Okay, he admitted. You're terrifying. Leora looked confused again. Is that good? Very. But the motion scanner kept blinking. More signals. More hunters. Kai looked toward the sealed hangar door. Then back at Leora. I've got one last idea. What idea? Kai smiled dangerously. We steal a warship. Leora considered this. That seems reasonable. Kai approached the hangar controls. But before he could touch them, the massive door exploded inward. Smoke filled the corridor. A towering figure stepped through. Not a mercenary. Something worse. 12 feet tall. Mechanical armor fused directly into alien flesh. Eyes glowing with artificial light. Kai's stomach dropped. Please tell me that's not Vornek. The creature's voice echoed like metal grinding. I am Vornek, and the Narian belongs to me. Leora stepped forward calmly. Kai stepped beside her. Sorry, he said. She's taken. Vornek smiled. You misunderstand, human. I did not come for negotiation. He raised a massive cannon built into his arm. I came for collection. Kai had just challenged one of the most powerful collectors in the outer systems, and Vornek had brought an army to make an example of him. Vornek did not rush. Creatures like him never did. The massive collector stepped through the broken hangar door slowly, mechanical joints humming as his fused armor shifted with each movement. The corridor seemed smaller with him inside it. Kai kept his pistol raised. Leora, he muttered quietly. Tell me you've fought something like that before. She studied Vornek calmly. No. Kai sighed. Fantastic. Vornek's glowing eyes locked onto Leora. Vesha cast, he said with satisfaction. Rare, extremely rare. Leora didn't move. You destroyed my hunters, Vornek continued. That was impressive. Kai shifted slightly in front of her. She's not for sale. Vornek finally looked at him. The mechanical eyes scanned him from head to toe. Human, he said with mild curiosity. Step aside. Kai smiled. Hard pass. Vornek raised his arm cannon slightly. You misunderstand. I am not asking. Kai fired first. 3 shots. Perfect center mass. The bullet sparked harmlessly off Vornek's armored chest. Yeah, Kai muttered. Figured that might happen. Vornek fired back. The cannon blast obliterated the wall beside them. Kai and Leora dove apart as molten metal sprayed across the corridor. Okay, Kai shouted. Now we run! But Leora didn't move. Instead, the crimson patterns on her skin began glowing again. Stronger this time. Brighter. Vornek noticed immediately. Ah, the collector murmured. Combat mode. Leora stepped forward slowly. You are hurting people, she said quietly. Vornek laughed. I hurt assets. Leora's eyes burned bright gold. You will stop. Vornek fired again. This time, Leora caught the blast with both hands. The energy condensed between her palms like liquid fire. Then she threw it back. Vornek staggered as the blast slammed into his chest armor, sending the giant creature crashing through a cargo container. Kai blinked. Okay, he said. That was awesome. Leora turned to him. We must leave now. Kai nodded immediately. Yeah, before he gets back up. Behind them, alarms continued screaming as more mercenaries flooded the station. The hangar door loomed ahead. Almost there. Then the wreckage moved. Vornek stood again. Armor cracked. But still functional. You are valuable, he growled. Kai groaned. Why do villains never stay down? Vornek's arm cannon charged again. But this time, multiple new ships appeared on the hangar scanners. Kai looked up. More mercenaries. Entire squads landing. Great, he said. We're surrounded. Leora looked at the ships, then at Kai. There is still one option. Kai followed her gaze. A massive military interceptor sat in the far corner of the hangar. Locked, armed, and very illegal to steal. Kai grinned. I was hoping you'd say that. Kai was about to steal a warship from one of the most dangerous stations in the galaxy, while Vornek and an entire mercenary army tried to stop him. The interceptor was beautiful. Sleek black armor, dual plasma thrusters, heavy forward cannons. Kai recognized the model instantly. Alliance Combat Interceptor, he whispered. Leora glanced at him. You know this ship? Kai grinned. I used to fly one. They sprinted across the hangar. Behind them, mercenaries poured through the doors. Vornek roared. Stop them. Blaster fire erupted across the hangar floor. Kai slid behind the interceptor's wing, pulling Leora down with him. Cover me! He popped open the manual access panel and began tearing wires loose. Leora stood calmly. Blaster bolts screamed toward them. She moved like lightning. Every shot bent away from her. Energy rippled around her body as if reality itself refused to touch her. Kai stared briefly. You know, most people use cover. I am cover, she replied. Fair enough. More mercenaries arrived. Dozens now. Vornek stepped forward through the chaos. Kai ripped the final lock wire free. The cockpit opened. Yes. He jumped inside and powered up the systems. Engines roared to life. Leora. She leapt into the cockpit beside him just as a plasma blast slammed into the hull. Kai pulled the controls. The interceptor lifted off violently. Mercenaries scattered as the ship blasted upward through the hangar. Vornek fired his cannon again. The blast clipped the interceptor's wing. Warning alarms screamed. Kai gritted his teeth. Hold together. Hold together. The interceptor smashed through the hangar shield and burst into open space. Kai exhaled slowly. We made it. Leora looked out the viewport. Not yet. Kai followed her gaze. 5 massive ships drifted outside Eclipse Station. Warships. Collector warships. Vornek's fleet. Kai sighed. Of course he has a fleet. Leora turned to him. Can you defeat them? Kai pushed the throttle forward. The interceptor engines howled. Not defeat, he said, but I can outrun them. Missile lock screamed immediately. Kai smiled. Let's see how fast this thing really is. Kai escaped the station, but Vornek's fleet had just begun the hunt. Missiles filled the stars behind them. Kai laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was insane. 5 warships chasing a single interceptor. Leora, he said calmly, I need you to trust me. I already do. That's concerning. The first missile detonated behind them. Shockwaves rattled the cockpit. Kai rolled the interceptor into a violent spin. Leora gripped the seat. Is this normal flying? Nope. The interceptor dove straight toward an asteroid cluster. Vornek's fleet followed. Missiles screamed closer. Kai twisted the controls hard. The ship slipped between 2 spinning asteroids with inches to spare. Explosions thundered behind them as missiles slammed into rock. 2 warships crashed into the debris field. Kai grinned. 2 down. Leora looked impressed. You are very effective. Humans are stubborn. The remaining warships fired again. Heavy cannons this time. Blue energy blasts tore through space. Kai's smile faded slightly. Okay, those hurt. He pushed the engines harder. The interceptor screamed through the asteroid field like a bullet. Another blast clipped their engines. Warning lights flared red. Leora placed her hand on the console. Her glowing veins spread into the metal. The damaged systems began stabilizing. Kai blinked. Did you just heal my ship? Yes. Kai stared at her. You are the best co-pilot ever. Behind them, Vornek's flagship emerged from the debris field. Still chasing, still gaining. Kai checked the engine power, then made a decision. Leora. Yes? Ever been to Earth? No. Kai pushed the jump drive controls. First time for everything. The interceptor's engines surged. Stars stretched into lines. But just before the jump activated, Vornek's flagship fired one last shot. The blast struck the interceptor directly. Systems exploded. The jump drive activated anyway. Space twisted, and the damaged interceptor vanished into hyperspace. Inside the cockpit, Kai fought the failing controls. Please don't explode. Leora looked at the collapsing systems. Are we safe? Kai shook his head slowly. Not even close. Outside the ship, the jump trajectory spiraled wildly out of control, straight toward unknown space. Kai escaped Vornek's fleet, but their damaged ship was about to crash somewhere far worse. Then Eclipse Station. The interceptor tore out of hyperspace like a dying animal. Warning alarms screamed through the cockpit. Kai wrestled the controls while sparks rained from the console. Okay, easy. The ship ignored him. Outside the viewport, a massive green and blue planet filled the stars. Leora studied it calmly. Is that Earth? Kai shook his head. No. The engine exploded behind them. The interceptor spiraled violently toward the atmosphere. Kai gritted his teeth. Hold on! The ship slammed into the upper clouds. Fire engulfed the hull as friction tore at the damaged armor. Leora gripped the seat. Is this part of the plan? No. The interceptor broke through the clouds and plunged toward a massive forest below. Kai yanked the controls. Thrusters screamed. The ship clipped treetops, then smashed into the ground. The world exploded into dirt, metal, and shattered trees. Everything went black. Kai woke to silence. Smoke drifted through the broken cockpit. His head pounded. Leora! No response. Panic surged. Leora! She groaned softly beside him. I am functional. Kai exhaled. Good. He forced the cockpit open. Cool alien air rushed in. The forest stretched in every direction. Massive trees, strange glowing plants, and unfamiliar animal calls echoing through the distance. Kai climbed out slowly. Well, he muttered. Not Earth. Leora stepped beside him, studying the environment. This world is quiet. Kai looked up at the stars. Then his scanner. His expression darkened. Not for long. Leora followed his gaze. What is it? Kai turned the scanner toward her. A single signal blinked on the screen. Then 2. Then 10. Leora's eyes narrowed. Ships. Kai nodded slowly. Vornek tracked us. Above them, a massive shadow crossed the sky. Vornek's flagship entered orbit. Kai sighed. You've got to be kidding me. Leora looked at him carefully. You said humans do not abandon people. Kai checked his pistol. Then the crashed interceptor. Still true. Leora tilted her head. What do we do? Kai smiled grimly. We make this planet very expensive for Vornek. Far above them, dropships began falling from the sky. Vornek had followed them to the planet, and now he was sending an army to claim his prize. The first dropships landed within the hour. Kai and Leora watched from the forest ridge as Vornek's soldiers spread across the crash site. Dozens of armored mercenaries, heavy weapons, combat drones. Kai whistled softly. Yeah, that's an army. Leora studied them carefully. They will not stop. Nope. Kai checked the crashed interceptor behind them. Good news, he said. What? The ship's reactor is still intact. Leora looked confused. That is good? Kai smiled slowly. Oh yeah. Before she could ask more, a massive shadow landed behind the soldiers. Vornek. The collector stepped from his dropship, towering over his troops. His mechanical eyes scanned the forest. Find them. The army moved immediately. Leora watched silently. Then she spoke softly. I did not tell you everything. Kai raised an eyebrow. That seems to be a trend today. Leora looked down at her glowing veins. The Vesha cast was not designed only for combat. Kai frowned. Then what else? Leora's voice was quiet. We were designed to end wars. Kai blinked. How? Leora raised her hand. The crimson light spread through the forest floor. Plants began reacting, growing, twisting. The ground itself seemed to respond to her presence. Kai stared. You control biology? Yes. Our blood can awaken entire ecosystems. Kai looked toward the approaching army. Then back at her. A slow grin spread across his face. You know what? What? This might actually work. He pulled a detonator from his pocket. Leora looked at it. What is that? Kai's grin widened. The second half of the plan. Behind them, the damaged interceptor's reactor began humming loudly. Leora suddenly understood. You are going to destroy the ship. Kai nodded. And everything around it. The mercenary army marched closer. Vornek himself stepped forward. Kai looked at Leora. Ready to start a war? Leora's golden eyes burned brightly. I was made for it. Kai was about to turn an entire alien ecosystem into a weapon, and Vornek's army was walking straight into it. Vornek entered the clearing first. The crashed interceptor lay in the center like bait. Smoke still drifted from its broken hull. The collector studied the wreckage. Search it. Mercenaries moved in. Drones scanned the forest. But Kai and Leora were already watching from the ridge above. Kai held the detonator loosely. You sure about this? He asked. Leora nodded. My species ended wars this way. Kai smiled. Well, humans usually start them. The mercenaries reached the ship. Vornek stepped closer. Then the forest moved. Roots burst from the ground. Vines wrapped around armored soldiers and dragged them into the soil. Massive trees bent like living giants, smashing drones from the sky. The entire jungle came alive. Vornek roared in rage. What is this? Leora's glowing veins spread through the earth like fire. This planet is listening. Kai watched the chaos below. Remind me to never fight your species. Vornek blasted the living vines apart with his cannon and charged forward. His armor tore through the forest defenses. Kai sighed. Of course the boss survives. Vornek reached the crashed interceptor. His scanners locked onto the reactor. Too late. Kai pressed the detonator. The interceptor's core exploded. A blinding shockwave tore through the clearing. Vornek's army vanished in fire. The forest roared as energy surged through the awakened ecosystem. When the smoke cleared, Vornek was gone. His fleet above orbit retreated immediately. Kai lowered the detonator slowly. Well, that worked. Leora stood beside him. The war is not finished. Kai nodded. No. He looked toward the stars. Vornek will come back. Leora studied him carefully. Will you still protect me? Kai smiled. Leora, humans don't give up people we protect. She tilted her head. And if the entire galaxy comes for me? Kai shrugged. Then the galaxy better be ready. Far above them, a distant warship signal appeared on Kai's scanner. Not Vornek. Human. Kai smiled wider. Looks like Earth finally found us. Leora looked at the stars. What will humans do? Kai's voice was calm. What we always do. Fight. Vornek had just learned something terrifying about humanity. Once a human decides someone is their responsibility, the entire galaxy becomes the battlefield.